Everyone loves a good comparison, a good fight, a good David versus Goliath. So here we bring you a great comparison between two fantastic guitars from Furch and from Taylor. Today we are comparing the Furch Violet Gc-ER against the very popular 214 CE+. Pretty close in price, very different in construction. I'm going to tell you all about it, so stick around. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name is Chris McKee with Alamo Music in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, like our videos. If you want to support the channel, you can visit our spring store, link below for custom swag, and check out our podcast, the Fretboard Confessional, wherever you get your podcasts at. So these are both great guitars. We're big fans of both of these builders, and they're close in price, but they're very different in how they're built. And so it seemed like a really cool opportunity to kind of do a this or that. Which one would you prefer? And play them so you have an idea for the money, kind of what you get. And there are trade-offs here. So right from the start, let's go ahead and establish that. There is not exact feature parity, and there's very closeness in price, but you're not getting everything, in both guitars. So let's talk about it. The first guitar we're going to talk about is the Taylor 214 CE+. Now, the Plus models in the 200 series have been very popular. Let's recognize at the outset that the 200 series may well be the most diverse and crowded series that Taylor offers in their lineup currently. Maybe second to the GS Mini, maybe ahead of the GS Mini. But I say that because there's a lot of different options in the 200 series. You have the normal 200s, you have the 200 pluses, you have 214 deluxe models, you have 224 deluxe models, various woods. They often do limited editions, so on and so forth. The plus is kind of a sweetheart position because price-wise, it makes sense. It's more expensive than the normal 214. You get a really nice aero case with it. It's less expensive than the deluxe model, which comes with a hardshell case, but you still get a gloss body. You still get the ES2 pickup system. You get really a lot of what you would get with the deluxe model, and you save yourself some coin. So let's go spec for spec so we understand what we're getting here. So the 214 CE Plus is a Grand Auditorium sized guitar. It's built in Taylor's Mexico factory, which is a very nice factory. We got to visit there last summer. They're building some of the parts like bracing and stuff for US manufactured guitars. And it's an impeccably well-run factory with really good quality instruments. I would say that I think, generally speaking, the quality from a manufacturing standpoint of what's coming out of there is generally on par with the quality from a manufacturing standpoint of what's coming out of the US factory. In other words, they're not run like different companies with varying levels of quality. The difference is in the feature specification and where it's manufactured in order to get it to a price point that makes sense. So, made in Mexico, Grand Auditorium, which is a kind of a dual body shape that's become very popular, which is why there's also a cutaway Grand Auditorium from Furch and many other manufacturers. It's just as wide and deep as a dreadnought with a tighter waist, light gauge strings. It feels like a smaller guitar. It's able to handle strumming and flat picking very well. It responds to finger style stuff very well. It feels like a larger and smaller guitar all at the same time. For a bit now, I think starting last year, the tops on these are torrefied spruce. Torrefaction is a process of heat treatment in a zero oxygen environment in order to try to kind of mimic what age does artificially. Some will say that it is aging the top. Others will tell you that that's marketing nonsense, but it does have some benefit. It's not a silver bullet, but it improves things. That's why Taylor is using it here. What you generally get, in addition to a darker appearance, is a little bit more open top straight out of the case. This also has C-class bracing, which is like half a V-class. They're cantilevered bracing that allows for a balance of volume and sustain and generally a more open sound that comes out of these. Now, ebony fingerboard and bridge, we have an Italian acrylic rosette, and you know what a big fan I am of acrylics when they're from Italy. So it's a very fetching design. Black Taylor style pickguard, simple dot inlays up the fingerboard, a nice Taylor neck It has it's a sapele neck, kind of an open pore finish-ish, and a rosewood overlay with the Taylor logo in, I'm going to dub it, cream or white colored plastic of some kind. This is rosewood back and sides. Now the back and sides on this are laminate or layered rosewood. What does that mean? And let's talk about why Taylor wants to say specifically layered. Laminate is basically like a plywood, right? It means that you have multiple pieces of wood that are glued together under high pressure. There's lots of benefits to working with this material in a factory environment and for having it as an owner. It's very stable, it's easy to bend. In fact, there's no bracing on the back of this guitar because they can press, and it's probably hard to see on camera, they can press a shape into this, kind of a very shallow bowl, and that provides it with the rigidity that it needs so that it doesn't have to have bracing. Now that means the guitar is going to be a little bit brighter, or lighter rather, to offset the weight of the ply that the layered woods are made out of, and it projects a little bit better, arguably. Now, the nice thing about dealing with a layered back and side is that you can also deal with a bunch of different woods, like Koa on their K14K, the 214K or the 224 CEK, without having to deal with the premium that comes with all solid wood Koa. It's easier to work with the factory, et cetera, et cetera. Lots of benefits there. It is bound with a dark black fiber binding, and you get, like I said, the ES2 pickup system, so that's why there's knobs right here. And it comes with an aero case. The aero case is like a blend between a hard shell case and a backpack. Zippered enclosure, extremely rigid, backpack straps. It's a really nice alternative. We've had some people buy higher-end Taylors and opt for an aero case rather than a traditional hard shell case with latches. So there you have it. 1/11/16 inch nut width, 25.5 inch scale length, and great playability because it's Taylor with a bolt-on neck. Now let's compare it to the Furch. Now I'm going to tell you at the outset, the Furch is slightly less expensive than the 214 CE Plus. It is manufactured in Europe, in the Czech Republic, in the Furch factory, which is about an hour from Vienna, Austria. Beautiful place that we had the opportunity to visit. I'd love to go back and maybe never come back. It's really, really nice up there. Now, one of the key differences between these guitars is that this is all solid wood construction. So you see right off the top, the shape is very similar. Grand Auditorium with a cutaway. It also features a spruce top. There's no torrefaction. In this case, this is Engelmann spruce instead of Sitka. I'm a big fan of Engelmann. I think it has kind of a rounder sound than Sitka. It may not always have the volume ceiling that Sitka has, but it generally works very, very well. This is an X-braced guitar and features rosewood back and sides. Now that's crazy to me at this price because East Indian rosewood is typically seen as a premium wood. Of course, there are grades of it in the quality, but it has found its way on this guitar. They make another version of this guitar where you could use African mahogany instead of East Indian rosewood for the back and sides. Ebony bridge and fingerboard, no inlay whatsoever to speak of. There is no pickup on this guitar, and we have a really nice black overlay for the headstock with an applique inlay, nothing inlaid, logo rather, nothing inlaid. So really the big differences between these guitars are a few aesthetic changes. I should mention binding on the top, not on the back of this guitar versus binding on the 214. There's little things where you can tell that, I mean, there are sacrifices that have to be made in the name of getting a guitar to a certain price. Whether it's changing where it's manufactured, changing how it's manufactured, the materials that are utilized, or dropping certain features. This one doesn't technically come with a case. We generally include a Furch gig bag when we sell these, but it's not part of the price that Furch reflects for this guitar. It does not include a pickup at this price either. It does feature all solid wood construction, a very nice sound, I will say, coming out of it with the X bracing, and it has their new neck joint, which is similar to what Taylor's come out with on the gold labels, where you can kind of adjust it on the fly by adjusting a bolt in there with a flexible driver. So there's some great features to this, but it's not feature parity. It's a satin finish. It doesn't have all of the inlay. It's not glossed, right? It doesn't have the case. It doesn't have the pickup, but it also is all solid wood. So these are the trade-offs that we have. We're going to play both of them. They're going to sound different, and you're going to pick one over the other. And then at the end of the day, you would say which one would be a better value for your dollar. It's not exactly apples to apples. That's kind of the point of this video. One, does all solid wood really make that big of a difference? And two, are some of the other features worth it, for that price point, even if you're sacrificing solid back and sides, but you're getting some of the other features that you would otherwise want? A dark kind of horse in this race would be Taylor of Cell's, a 314 CE Studio. Oh, by the way, this is a 1 3/4 inch nut width. I was thinking about that because the 314 CE Studio is the same nut width as the 214, 1/11/16. I generally like the wider nut width. Some people prefer the narrower nut width. Bob's your uncle, whatever you prefer works for you. But the reason I bring that up is because that's right at $2,000 currently. It's all gloss. It doesn't have binding. It has a torrefied top. You get a really nice case with it. It has a pickup. If you add a pickup into this, it's several $100s. If you add a case to it, depending upon the kind, it's going to be $150 or more. And so the price starts getting up there. But again, you're starting with an all solid wood guitar. So there's no easy answer here, but they do have unique sounds to them. So let's take a listen. All right, so there you have it. Lock in your votes in the comments below. Which one would you take? Which one did you prefer better? Am I completely off my rocker and full of it? Ready? Put your pencils down in 3, 2, 1. So maybe you had a particular preference when it came to the sound of them. Maybe you didn't, but I'd love to hear what the comments say. Here's what I would tell you. I can tell right off the bat that the Furch in this particular instance is a lot more resonant, which I would kind of expect. One, it doesn't feature a gloss finish, so by nature I'd expect the finish to be thinner. Two, it features all solid wood construction, so there's going to be a lightness to it and a resonance that comes about because of all solid wood construction. You just can't replace that. That being said, it's a huge value in what you're getting for the 214 CE Plus. I think it sounds really great with the torrefied top and the CE class bracing changes that they've made to it. I think the ES2 is a fantastic pickup. I'm trying to think, there aren't a lot of manufacturers out there that make their own proprietary pickup. And yeah, this one sounds really, really good. So I like that it comes with it. Which one would I choose? It would depend on application and my budget. If I needed a stage-ready guitar and my budget was like right at $1,500, I would go with the Taylor all day long, hands down, despite my fanship of the Furch. I'm a fan of both guitars, honestly. But this one is ready out of its aero case to plug in and go to town. I wouldn't have to do anything to it, and it would work in my acoustic performances very well also. If I had a budget and had the wherewithal to either hire a luthier technician or do it myself to install a pickup and get a case and everything, then it becomes a question of, would I get this guitar and add things to it, which, by the way, we do a lot. We install a ton of pickups every single week for people who are buying guitars that don't come with pickups. So maybe I would do that and get a really nice case and be done with it so that I could get Engelmann spruce and rosewood at a budget price. And that, for me, on the Furch would probably be my motivating factor. These tone woods in combination are generally something that you only find at a higher echelon of guitar, and it's a pairing that I really like. That's why I own a Taylor 914C, because of that pairing of tone woods. It's available in their new beautiful 914CE Legacy guitars, but that you could have like 5 of these guitars for the price of that guitar because of all of the inlay and the quality of the woods and so forth that go into it. So to get these woods together, if I had around $2,000, I might go that route. So let me know what your thoughts are in this pairing, the dark horse I mentioned as far as an option, and where you would go. So I'd love to hear what everyone's thoughts are in this equation. If you're trying to find a guitar, by the way, and you're kind of sorting through the myriad of options that are out there, we're here to help. So go to our website and email us, call us, or you can message us using the chat box in the little right-hand corner. It's not an AI bot. It's us. It's Cooper or myself or David or John talking to you and helping you to find the guitar of your dreams, because that's why we get up each morning and come to work. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, like our videos, keep coming back for more. We'll see you next time.